Hello students, we will discuss on the topic compensation management. Compensation of employees for their services is an important responsibility of human resource management. Every organization must offer good wages and fringe benefits to attract and retain talented employees with the organization. Compensation refers to a wide range of financial and non-financial rewards. Financial means cash, non-financial means fringe and others, fringe benefits and others. Compensation refers to a wide range of financial and non-financial rewards to employees for their services rendered to the organization. The term compensation is an embracing word that comprises cash payment, which in addition to wages and salary includes pension, bonus, incentives, profits, etc. In industry, workers are compensated in the form of following benefits: monthly wage and salary, bonus, economic benefits. You can take as example paid holidays, leave, travel concession, etc. Contribution towards insurance premium, contribution towards retirement benefits such as employee provident fund, transport, medical facilities, and many other welfare facilities. There are other aspects of compensation which an employee looks for, such as promotion, word of praise, job satisfaction, etc. If we take the definition of DeCanjo Robbins, he said that compensation management aims at designing a cost-effective pay structure that will attract, motivate, and retain competent employees. If we go to the topic components, what are the components of compensation management? We can take the example of Thomas J. Bergman. He said that there are 4 compensation components. First is the wage and salary. Second is the employee benefits. Third, non-recurring financial reward. And fourth one is non-pecuniary, non-financial rewards. You can see in all 4 components, 3 components: wage, benefits, non-recurring, all are the financial reward, but non-pecuniary is the non-financial reward. Wage, salary, cash; employee benefits, benefits given by the employer through PF, gratuity, medical, etc. Non-recurring, bonus, incentive, commission. And non-pecuniary, they are the participation in decision making, autonomy to the employee, empower to the employee. It is the non-pecuniary. Means we can say that in this compensation management, it is the broad phenomena in an organization. Means you are paying salary or remuneration to word of praise. Keep it up, well done, good job. All are the part of compensation management. If we go on the topic of objective, what are the objectives? Mainly, there are the three main objectives. First is the to attract, second is the to motivate, and third is the to retain. Means in three words, compensation management is totally surrounded by in these three words. Capable employees are attracted towards the organization. The employees are motivated for better performance. The employees do not leave the employer frequently. Maintain equity, fair compensation, satisfy people, reduce the turnover, grievance handling related to the wage, and to maintain a good public image. There are so many objectives, but basically you should emphasis on the three words: to attract, to motivate, and to retain. It is the three main objective of compensation management. Factors affecting compensation. Which type of factors affect the compensation? First, demand for and supply of labor. Wage is a price or compensation for the services rendered by a worker. Earlier we discussed is this sentence: wage is a price or compensation for the services rendered by a worker. Means the firm requires these services and it must pay a price that will bring forth the supply, which is controlled by the individual worker or by a group of workers acting together through their unions. The primary result of the operation of the law of supply and demand is the creation of the going wage rate. Going wage rate means it is the market rate, or we can say prevailing wage rate. Second factors which affect the compensation is the ability to pay. Employer's ability to pay is an important factor affecting wages not only for the individual firm but also for the entire industry. Third is the cost of living. These tend to vary money wage depending upon the variation in the cost of living index. Cost of living index. Following rise or fall in the general price level and consumer price index. It is an essential ingredient of long-term labor contract unless provision is made to reopen the wage clause periodically. Next, productivity of workers. Productivity is the key factor in the operation of a company. High wages and low cost are possible only when productivity increases appreciably. Next factor which affect the compensation is the labor union. Organized labor is able to ensure better wages than the unorganized one. Organized labor and means compensation depend on the union's structure. Next, government. To protect the working class from the exploitation of powerful employers, the government has enacted several laws. Laws on minimum wages, hours of work, equal pay for equal work, payment of dearness, allowances, payment of bonus, etc. The, the law enacted and the labor policies framed by the government have an important influence on wages and salaries paid by the employers. Wages and salaries can be fixed below the level prescribed by the government. Next is the prevailing wage rates. Wages in a firm are influenced by the general wage level or the wages paid for similar occupation in the industry, region, and the economy as a whole. Factors exercise a kind of general influence on wage rates. In addition, there are several factors which do affect the individual differences in wage rates. The most important factors which affect the individual differences in wage rates are workers' capacity, educational qualification, work experience, hazards involved in work, promotion possibilities, stability of employment, demand for special skills, profits or surplus earned by the organization. Supplementary compensation. Supplementary compensation, we can say it is the fringe benefits. Supplementary compensation involves fringe benefits offered through several employee services and benefits such as housing, subsidized food, medical aid, creche, etc. Supplementary compensation has been given different titles in industry such as service programs, employee benefits, and non-wage payment. Means there are many names of the supplementary compensation like fringe benefit and other. It is also called hidden payroll. The basic purpose of fringe benefits are to attract and maintain efficient human resources with the organization and to motivate the human resources. If we go on the types of supplementary compensation or fringe benefits, first is the payment for time not work. We can take an example in this area include paid rest period, paid lunch periods, wash up time, clothes change time, get ready time, vacation, holidays, sick leave, personal leave, voting time, etc. Hazard protection. There are number of hazards that might be faced by all. Income maintenance during these period is the purpose of fringe design to protect against the hazards of illness, injury, death, unemployment, permanent disability, old age, health, etc. Third type is employee services. Big organizations offer certain employee services on a continuing basis, such as housing, food, medical, recreation, and so on. Fourth is the legal payments. In most countries, the governments have passed several laws for protecting employees against the major hazards of life. Payments under this category may involve unemployment or layoff, compensation, employees insurance, old age benefits under Social Security. Supplementary compensation is different from base compensation. There are some difference we can note down. Base compensation, it is related to the cash payment, wage and salaries. It is related to the job evaluation, demand and supply of labor, capacity to pay, union bargaining power, productivity, government regulation, etc. In other hand, supplementary compensation based on over and above regular wages and salary means you are getting other than your cash payment, salary payment, wage payment, you get which type of facilities it is in the supplementary compensation. Housing, medical, canteen, it is the example. It is supplementary compensation is to increase the efficiency of employee, and it is for retention of the employees. It has been seen that if any company who are giving the big supplementary compensation or good fringe benefits, they retain their employees effectively. It is determined by the history of the organization, philosophy of the management, capacity of employer, need to retain talented employees, desire to enhance public image, etc. Method of payment. Based on the needs of the worker, capacity of the employer to pay, and the general economic condition prevailing in a country, the Committee on Fair Wages, which is constituted in 1948, and the 15th session of the Indian Labour Conference 1957, propounded certain wage concepts such as minimum wage, fair wage, living wage, and need-based wage. Means Fair Wage Committee 1948 has said that employees should be given minimum wage, means to be paid by employer to his worker irrespective of his ability to pay, means you have to pay minimum wage. If you have not ability to pay, but you have to forcefully pay the minimum wage. Minimum wage is basically depend on the physiological, which minimum wage fulfill the physiological need: food, water, shelter, it is under the minimum wage. For this purpose, minimum wage must provide some measures of education, medical benefits, and amenities. Fair wage is above the minimum wage, means maximum of minimum wage touches the fair wage minimum payment above the minimum wage but below the living wage. Fair wage is above the minimum wage but below the living wage. Capacity of the industry to pay based on productivity, prevailing rate means going rate, market rate, level of national income, economy of the nation. It is fair wage depend on the in these things. Living wage represent a standard of living, not only the bare essential of food, clothing, and shelter, but a measure of frugal comfort, including education, medical, and social needs, insurance, pension, etc., based on economic condition of the country. Means minimum wage, then fair wage, then living wage. All three wages are given by the Fair Wage Committee in 1948. In 15th session of the Indian Labour Conference 1957, they have given the need-based minimum wage, and their calculation is on the following basis. According to need-based wage, a working class family consists total 4 members. They should be provided as food 2700 calories. They should provided the cloth is 18 yards each members, means you can say 72 yards per annum in each family. They should provide subsidized housing, fuel, electricity will be the 20% of wage of the employee. Wage differentials are the result of occupational differences, inter-firm differentials, regional differences, inter-industry differences, and personal differences. Occupational differences. Wages vary from occupation to occupation. Means wage difference in occupational area is it is different wage due to the change of occupation. Inter-firm differential, different plants in the same area and occupation. Regional differences due to the region, some occupation at different geographical regions. Some means one person who is working in the Naxalite belt, they will get the remote area allowances, so it is different from the other colleagues who are working in the normal area. Inter-industry differences, some occupation and the same area but in different industries. Differences In the personal characteristics of workers working in the same unit and occupation, it is the personal wage difference due to they are differ in the personal characteristics. There are some theories related to the wages. We will focus on some important theories, 4-5 theories. Wage fund theory, Adam Smith has given this. According to him, Adam Smith, this theory was based on the basic assumption that workers are paid wages out of a predetermined fund of wealth. This fund he called wages fund, created as a result of savings. According to Adam, the demand for labor and rate of wages depend on the size of the wages fund. Accordingly, if the wages fund is large, wage should be high and vice versa. Subsistence theory. This theory is propounded by David Ricardo. According to this theory, the laborers are paid to enable them to subsist and perpetuate the race without increase of diminution. This payment is also called as subsistence wages. The basic assumption of this theory is if workers are paid wages more than subsistence labor, worker number will increase, and as a result, wages will come down to the subsistence level. On the contrary, if workers are paid less than subsistence wages, the number of wages will decrease as a result of starvation, death, malnutrition, disease. Means the wage rate would again go up to subsistence level. Since wage rate tend to be at subsistence level at all cases, that is why this theory is also called as iron law of wages. The subsistence wages refer to minimum wages. Next is the surplus value theory of wages. It is developed by the Karl Marx. According to him, labor is also an article which could be purchased on payment of its price, wages. Residual claimant theory, it is given by Francis A. Walker. According to Walker, there are 4 factors of production or business activities: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. He views that once all other 3 factors are rewarded, what remains left is paid as wages to workers. Means worker is the residual claimant. The bargaining theory of wages, John Davidson was the propounder of this theory. According to this theory, the fixation of wages depends on the bargaining power of workers, trade unions, and the employers. So, we have completed the compensation management. Thank you.